Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Talking Reds fan channel. I am Stu, your host for this morning. As per usual, the weekend recap on the Monday morning. We're going to go and talk about basically everything involving Alexander Isak, because obviously there's been more developments again over the weekend. I've also got down a little bit about Darwin Nunez and his potential move to Saudi Arabia. Also, the potential move for Tyler Morton. Some little transfer rumours surrounding Chiesa and going back to Italy as well. Obviously, we do have a couple of friendlies coming up today against Atletico Bilbao at Anfield, 2 games, one at 5 o'clock and one at 8 o'clock, I believe, for the kickoff times. And also a little segment about merchandise pricing, which will come at the end of the show, and it is something that is giving me a little bit of a bee in my bonnet about the stuff. But I'm going to open the chat window, and before we go any further, we have to do the usual admin side of things, so make sure you do leave a like on this video. Put your thoughts and feelings into the chat window. I have the chat window open here, ready to talk to you guys. And also, don't forget to sub to the channel. The sub count is going really, really well at the moment. I believe it looks like we're almost at 1,200. I'm going to do a quick double check on that now as it loads up. I'm waiting for it. There we go. Let's get onto the channel. Yes, the channel is almost at 1,200 subs. Can we get another 300 subs before the Bournemouth game a week on Friday? Come on. I know we can do it. I know we can do it. We are having some of our most successful views and sub counts and everything on the channel. The growth is not possible without you guys at the end of the day. The growth has been exponential, and it is all down to you lot. It's all down to you lot, keeping the interaction going and all that sort of stuff. It is all down to you guys. So make sure you do share this channel around. We have been building month upon month. I'm not going to say anything more about it until probably the end of the stream. Anyway, so good morning to Fireburn. Good to see you again on the stream this morning. Good to see Inda in the house as well. And I apologize if I say in the house and stuff like that. I'm 44 years old. I really couldn't care less. If somebody calls me a boomer or whatever, that's just how I speak. Tony, good to see you this morning as well. I'm very concerned about ZCB. ZCB? How to tell me about that? I'm not quite sure what that's about. Adam, good to see you again this morning as well. And Inda, is anyone not worried about the right wing after Salah? Inda, on that one, I'll come to that in a second. I'm just going through some of the comments there. Prakesh is in the house as well. Prakesh, welcome back along. And also, Thames again. Deliso. I don't know if I pronounced that right. I do apologize. Some interesting takes on there. We'll get into that in a second. So, obviously, the first big news over the weekend was that Isak is now back in the country. He has left the training ground area that he was in Sociedad and flew back over the weekend and is due to have talks with the Newcastle hierarchy, obviously Eddie Howe and whoever's in charge of their finances and stuff like that. And all in all, I know there's been a lot coming out about the Alexander Isak deal over the last few days, saying he's not going to be coming, the club's not going to be putting another bid in for him, blah, 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 all that sort of stuff. My take on it is that it is all just smoke and mirrors. I fully believe that this deal is already done, and we're just waiting for Newcastle to pull their fingers out their backsides and get a couple of strikers over the line. Now, obviously, those strikers being, I think the main ones that are being touted at the moment are Yoane Wissa from Brentford and obviously Benjamin Sesko from Leipzig. Prakesh, I'll come to that in a second. And obviously, Sesko has been given a couple of days to decide. He's obviously had also Klopp in his ear, obviously giving him a bit of advisement. I'm hoping that advisement is jib United off completely. You'd be a completely stupid boy for going to United. Go to Newcastle. At least you'll have one more season of Champions League football. Whereas you're going to have no European football at all if you go to United. And frankly, probably no European football next season either. Not with the competitiveness of the league at the moment. I don't expect United to qualify for Europe next season. And that's just my honest opinion. I still don't think they have anywhere near enough in their squad to even compete for a Conference League spot at the moment. That's just my hot take on it. And if, in my opinion, if Sesko does decide to go to Man United over Newcastle, he's an idiot, and Newcastle don't need him. That's just the way I look at it. And I'll say, even though being a Liverpool fan, I'm looking out at Newcastle's interests here. I think, okay, yeah, in their best interest, they want to keep Isak, but Isak doesn't want to stay. So let him go. But I think Yoane Wissa is probably the most likely one to sign at the moment. But he's not an out-and-out striker. He's more of an inside forward. So they do need somebody like Sesko. If the Sesko deal does fall through, does that impact the Isak deal? Maybe a little bit. It may just drag it on a little bit further. But I'm actually kind of optimistic that the deal gets done and dusted by the time the Charity Shield comes around this weekend. That's what I'm thinking at the moment. Liz Golden, good to see you this morning. Good morning. Yes, Prakash, I said I'll come on to this now. Yeah, Alan Shearer's statement this morning when he was asked about it. And in no uncertain terms, he has basically just said, if I can find it quickly, no individual is bigger than any football club. My sentiments exactly. And if he doesn't want to be there, fine. You get what you can for him and get him out and say, thank you very much, and off you go. And thanks for the memories. That is exactly the attitude Newcastle should be pulling. But they have been behaving like absolute petulant school children over this whole deal. And I find Newcastle is always a club that I've respected. But I think over the last couple of months, they've really shown, especially some of their fans, they've really shown what they're about and how deluded some of them actually are. Let's not forget as well, and this is a point that was raised on social media yesterday. The first club to fully congratulate them publicly for winning their first trophy in 70 years was Liverpool. They beat us in the final, and we were humble and respectful and said, yeah, you outplayed us, you played us off the park, you won your first trophy in 70 years. Congratulations. You deserve it. And we said that to the fans, we said that to the club and all that sort of stuff. And we've always had a good relationship with Newcastle and their fans. Very similar styles of clubs, one being on the East Coast, one being on the West Coast, both being industrial cities and all that sort of stuff. But over the last couple of months, the Newcastle fans' heads have just fallen off over this. I don't know what they expected. I don't know whether they thought winning the Carabao Cup all of a sudden puts them into the elite category. It's the Carabao Cup. Yes, it's nice to win a bit of silverware, but it's your first trophy in 70 years. You haven't won 20 league titles or anything like that. So calm yourselves down a little bit, Newcastle fans. You're not as big as you think you are. I don't think that is a shocking opinion to have or anything like that. And that's why we find ourselves in this situation now. Isak is an elite striker. He wants to go to an elite club where he is going to compete for league titles and Champions Leagues straight away. Are Newcastle realistically going to do that? No. Do you Newcastle deserve to have a big fee out of this? Of course they do. That is just the way the market value is. But don't mess the player or the other clubs around. This whole thing of saying, it's the club can train with us if he wants to, but we have to figure out a way to do it, all that sort of stuff. No, don't be silly. Just get on with it and get the job done. And get Isak into Liverpool, get your strikers into Newcastle and start building your squad and stop whinging about it. I guarantee a lot of the whinging and the bluster is coming from the Newcastle side, not the Liverpool side. That's just the way I look at it. What you're saying here, and how is the assistant first team recruit currently and the nephew? Whoa, really? If that's true, that's interesting. I did not know that. Isak has turned up at the ground. Really? Let's have a quick look. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, just seeing it pop up there from Sky. Alexander Isak has returned to Newcastle United's training ground this morning and is set to meet Eddie Howe after pulling out the preseason trip to Singapore and Korea. Well, make of that what you will. I am still convinced that there is nothing untoward going on and the transfer will go through as per normal. I think I can't see any of that changing anytime soon. Darius, I think you're hitting the nail right on the head there. I think that's how that meeting is going to go, and it's going to go one way. It's going to be Isak sits down and goes, right, here's my transfer request. I want to leave. It's the only thing he's got left to do. If he's serious about leaving, he's got to go. And he's got to hand in his transfer request. And I'm pretty sure I saw somewhere that he's met with his agents over the weekend again as well. So, yeah, I think I won't be surprised within the next hour or two that we get another major update on this, like the transfer request has gone in or something like that. Bush Baptists, totally agree. Isak is looking at Liverpool as a step up. Like it or not, Liverpool are 2 or 3 levels higher than Newcastle. He's going to be part of the legacy of Liverpool. Exactly that. It's as simple as that. Newcastle fans can whinge about it all they want, but the pure fact of the matter is that there really is only a couple of clubs in this country that really have that elite status at the moment. And Newcastle are not one of them. You can't yo-yo in and out of the Champions League and claim to be an elite club. No, not at all. Adam, what are you saying? If you're Sesko, who would you choose? For as much as I despise Man United, I think you would choose them because of their history in a bigger club than Newcastle. I get what you're saying. Yeah, obviously United's stature commercially around the world and all that sort of stuff, as much as I hate to admit it, is by far larger than Newcastle's spread and grab. Newcastle are at the stage as a club at the moment where we were when Klopp first joined. Our commercial status, our worldwide status wasn't anywhere near as large as it was a decade ago. That's where Newcastle are now. They're about a decade behind us, I think, roughly in business terms. So, yeah, it's if you Sesko, personally, still, if I was in this position, I'd be picking Newcastle over United, and that's not because I wouldn't want him to go to United or anything like that. I personally just think that Newcastle are in a better position competition-wise more than anything else, and they stand a better, I'd say probably a better chance of qualifying for Europe next season if they can get all the transfer business sorted out. If, and that's a big if. Barbara, nothing about this. Transfers is normal. Well, yeah, you're not wrong there. This transfer window has been utterly bonkers. That's for certain. Darius, remember when Vert scheduled a meeting with Bayern's director of football just to say to him that he had chosen Liverpool? This will be the same. Yeah, actually, again, I can't disagree with that. He did. Vert was quite honourable in doing that with Bayern's director. He didn't have to, but he did. And I think that's exactly what Isak has to do as well. That's true. I wonder if you could hear a pin drop at Newcastle training. I'm willing to bet there's some quiet corridors around there and maybe a few cups up against the wall to figure out what is going on. Exactly that. We're European royalty. 20 league titles and 6 European Cups. Newcastle come back to us when you've got at least half of that. And then I'll consider you a elite club. But you haven't. So I'm sorry. Facts are facts. Let's see. Bushmasters, when Virch chooses Liverpool over Man City and his boyhood club, Munich, then that just shows the pull we have. Yeah, completely agree. Our pull is at its highest at the moment. Our spread across the world is just phenomenally good at the moment, and there's no two ways about it. Our stock has never been higher. Our stock has never been higher in the world of football at the moment. And if you put in a transfer request, what difference does it make to the deal itself? Not so much, obviously, the financials and everything. It just solidifies the fact that the club will either, if the club reject it, then that's when you could really see the crap hit the fan. And it could end up involving lawyers and all that sort of stuff because it will get messy. For Newcastle's sake, though, if he hands in the transfer request properly, accept it and just move on. Like I've said on previous streams last week and the week before, it's their Coutinho deal. Use it as your Coutinho deal, Newcastle, and everything will be fine. Trust in the process. Get that extra bit of money in. Oh, right. TK, when Liverpool will sign a new centre-back, Premier League... Now, we want to get this Isak deal. Okay, the centre-back issue, yes, I understand it is an issue, but we want to get this Isak deal done first. And then we'll concentrate on the centre-backs, which kind of brings me into the next one, is that it's looking more and more likely negotiations are continuing that Nunez is also going to fund this Isak deal by potentially going to Al Hilal. Apparently, over the weekend, Nunez has been speaking to Inzaghi, who is the new manager of Al Hilal. They've had the project presented to him. Apparently, he quite fancies the striker being there. After obviously Osimhen rejected him and wanted to go to Galatasaray instead, which is again is a weird choice. But Nunez to Saudi Arabia, I think, for all the sense in the world, I just think it makes sense to do that. When Napoli came in for him, I honestly didn't feel too confident about Nunez moving to Napoli, knowing how Italian money is in football, and it's not exactly the best. And obviously, they went for cheaper options. I think in the end, they went for Lorenzo Luca as their main striker, and gave up on the Nunez deal. So, yeah, for me, it was always going to be Nunez going to Saudi Arabia at some point in the summer. That's the only place I could see he would go, and we would recoup the money, or the vast majority of the money that we spent on him in the first place. And by the looks of it, the deal for around about 70 million euros, according to some outlets, is going to be the figure that is going to be needed to prize him away. I don't think the contract side of things for Nunez will be too much of a difficulty. It's just whether the player wants to go or not. And it's a tough one. Saudi Arabia is a tough one because it's a bit of a culture difference more than anything else. But that's not to say that it doesn't work for some of the players. Some of the players that have moved there have stayed there, and they're quite comfortable there. So it may work out for him. It may be the best move for him in his career. Who knows? Saudi Arabian football or Middle Eastern football is on the up, so to speak. I still think it's still a good 20-odd years behind European standard, but it's getting there. There's no doubt about it with the pull and the money that they've got. So a player like Nunez, maybe that could be his pioneering trail. If it does happen and we get 70 million euros in for him, considering the fact that we paid 85 million for him and for the output that we've had from him over the last few seasons, I'd say that's a damn good deal. A really, really good deal. And I would have no qualms about him going. And that, again, bringing in Isak to replace him, it's just such a massive upgrade. It's such a massive upgrade. It really is. Let's see. Barbara, insidious proves a football contract means nothing. In a way, true. Yeah, football contracts mean very, very little nowadays. If a player really, really wants to leave a club to go to another club, yeah, the player really has the power. Yeah, okay, the club can go, no, you got a 3-year contract, we'll leave you to rot in the reserves. But what club realistically, like Newcastle, are they going to leave somebody like Alexander Isak to rot in the reserves for 3 years of his contract? No, they ain't going to do that. No club would do that in their right mind. Let's see what else we got. DB, welcome along. Good to see you again this morning. Yep, as he says, don't forget to hit the like on the video and subscribe to the channel. Doing really, really well, guys. Doing really well. Adam saying, I wanted to sign Isak, but Newcastle should have said that he is not for sale. He has a again, these bids and everything, we would not have bid or got anywhere near to this point if we didn't have encouragement. Just saying. That it's not, the blame can't be put all on Liverpool for this. If we didn't have encouragement from the club and the player, that's why I said on the stream last week where I saw some rumours come out that apparently all this had been agreed with the player earlier on this year, like sort of around about February, March time, that he was going to leave this summer. If that is truly the case, then this is all on Newcastle and how the club is run. It's their fault. Not the players, not Liverpool's. It's theirs. Bush Baptists, players have always left the clubs. This deal won't do anything to change things. Players have always been bought mid-contract. This is why transfer fees are so high as a conversation. But yeah, I get that. I get that. Let's say, didn't Anthony Gordon do the same thing when Newcastle came calling for him away from Everton and even went on strike to move? I think he did, if I remember rightly. Sivang, yeah, I think he actually did. He did kick up a bit of a fuss because at that point in time, I think Newcastle were just into the Champions League football or European football or something like that. And he did. He kicked up a fuss at Everton because he wanted to go to a club that was in a better position. So you can't have it both ways, Newcastle. You really can't. Yeah, let's say Adam said, don't blame us. I blame how Newcastle had it. Yeah, this is all on the Geordies, I'm afraid. Well, yeah, again, very prime example, 2 prime examples. Luis Diaz, The club said, no, he has a valuation. We want that valuation met. And if it's not, then he's not going anywhere. Bayern Munich met that valuation, albeit through some tough negotiations. And he's now a Bayern Munich player. Coutinho. We didn't want to sell Coutinho, but Barcelona came in for that whopping offer. And then the rest, as they say, is history. So players move. Mid-contract, mid-season, whatever, start the season. Every player, and I've always said it, every single player has a price. Is that it? That is it. Yeah, Dario Massi, let's see. No, it's looking more and more like a reality. I think more than anything else. If Isak is saga for Liverpool, maybe the team should be. Now, TK, it's not a saga for Liverpool. It's not for again, looking at like sort of reading all the articles and everything that I've been digesting over the last couple of weeks around this. For me, first and foremost, the player has been pretty upfront by the looks of it with the club, saying that he wants to leave and go to a bigger club. He's picked Liverpool being that club. It's Newcastle that have cocked this up massively by not signing any replacements, and now they're panicking a little bit because they know that they had to sell him. They know, and I think they already have sold him. I think that deal is already done. I really do. I think the deal is all done, and he just needs a few more bits and pieces to fall into place. So that's the way I see it. And speaking of more deals being done, I did see this morning, and if you haven't, if you guys are on social media, and I'm going to load up something here. No, not that one. Where is he? Bear with me for a second. Why can I never find anything on Twitter? Right, anyway, there is an account on Twitter done by Max Bieber, and he monitors all plane traffic coming in and out of like sort of airports, private planes. And there is a plane booked going from Liverpool to Lyon today for Tyler Morton. Now, this is only going to be a small transfer. It's valued to be about, I think, about 15 million quid overall. And overall, I'd say, you know what? That's probably the best move for him. He's moving to a really good club who hopefully have come out the worst of their financial issues. He's moving to a country which has a very competitive league and something that he can grow in. He's just not going to get the time at Liverpool. And it's best all round, I think, more than anything. He'll get the first team football. He'll get European football as well, playing football on the continent. We get money for a youth player, so no transfer outlay, all profit coming in. It's a win-win for everybody. So with Morton going over to Lyon today, obviously to get his medical probably done later this evening and tomorrow, they'll sign the player. So I fully expect Tyler Morton to be a Lyon player by Wednesday at the latest. So if that is the case, thank you very much, Tyler Morton. Best of luck to you as well. I'm sure that'll be confirmed later this week, but I fully expect that one to be done and dusted anyway. Let's have a little look at the updates. So before I go on to a couple of other things about, in fact, actually, no. Another little transfer rumor that I picked up on over the weekend was Ademola Lookman. Not coming to Liverpool, but he has put in a transfer request at Atalanta after what he sees to be treated unfairly at the club. I don't know the exact ins and outs of it. But with that being said, and Lookman looking to move this summer, that does open up a window apparently for Chiesa to return back to the Serie A. So Chiesa could also end up going back to Italy with Atalanta. Right, I'll pick up on that in a second, Lee. So yeah, Ademola Lookman out of Atalanta, wherever he goes, not coming to Liverpool. I don't particularly want him at Liverpool, to be fair. I don't rate him that highly. But at Atalanta, he was good. And if they are looking for a cheaper replacement, Chiesa would be the perfect fit. Okay, so Bush Baptists are on a way to being the best club in the world, hopefully. So why wouldn't he's like exactly? Why wouldn't he want to join? I say our stock has never been higher. Lee, we need Sesko to say yes-go to Newcastle and Wissa to follow swiftly in Sesko's footsteps. This will leave the door wide open. Yeah, that is the ideal scenario. And even getting a compliment off Lee from the curtains. as well. My curtains are so great that my hair even blends into it a little bit. I blame the missus. Picking up on some early morning quotes as well. Obviously, because now brings into the next section of we do have 2 games today, both games against Bilbao. As I say, one at 5 o'clock kickoff and another one at 8 o'clock kickoff. I was typing it in wrong. I meant it's not Max Beaver, isn't it? Yeah, that's probably why then. That's why I couldn't find him. But you know who I meant anyway. Grey is a versatile colour. It is. Hence the silver top as well. Damn, I am really blending in today. So we are getting some quotes coming from Arne Slot and a few of the players earlier on this morning. Obviously, with the games coming up today. But obviously, it's also the first games back at Anfield, competitive games, or reasonably competitive games, without Jota, unfortunately. So Onslaught saying, we know that this will be an emotional occasion, being the first time that we've played at home since we lost Diogo. I know that you will want to pay your tributes before, during, and after the games. And I know that we will hear his song ringing out throughout the evening. I want to mention the strength and courage of my players here too. They have found themselves in one of the toughest positions imaginable, but the way they have come together and the way they have conducted themselves on and off the pitch is a credit to them and this football club. We really couldn't ask more for the boys, and I'm extremely proud of them all. Sounds like a proud dad. And you know what? I agree with that. I think the club, the staff, the players have all conducted themselves so admirably through all of this. I can't fault them for it. I really cannot fault them at all on how well they've dealt with all of this. I really can't. And I think today is going to be an emotional day. It will be an emotional day. I'm presuming that it's completely sold out as well. I'm presuming that. Just because the 2 friendlies, it's our first 2 big friendlies at Anfield. Obviously before the Charity Shield. So I'm fully expecting 2 full houses and some very, very emotional scenes at Anfield. Some big new banners and new signs, tifos and all that sort of stuff I fully expect as well. So yeah, it's going to be an emotional day, but I don't think anything is going to be as emotional as that first league game of the season against Bournemouth. It's going to hit hard. It's going to hit hard very, very quickly. But besides that, what sort of, because we're playing the same team, 1 at 5 and 1 at 8, how do you expect the teams to form out? Let me know in the chat. What are you expecting the teams to be? How do you think the rotation is going to work, just with the games being 3 hours apart? I'm trying to figure it out. I don't exactly know how Slot's going to play this out. It's going to be interesting to see. Obviously, I don't think there's any major injuries in the squad besides Gomez at the moment. So I'm expecting 2 full, like, sort of first team 11s, obviously with subs rotating through. I'll tell you one thing, it's going to be great to see Wirtz at Anfield in that new kit as well. It's our first games in our new kit as well. So that's going to be absolutely fantastic. And I'm going to come onto the kits in a second. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting one, I think, today. I really do. Salish, I presume. I hope I've said that right. I don't think Isak 150 million should be. I don't think it's going to be 150 million. I think it's going to be between 120 and 130. So I agree there. I don't think it's going to be 150. I think that's way, way, way over the market price, to be fair. Let's have a quick look. So, yeah, Darius has just picked up on a little bit of news there. So, Isak has arrived at the training ground this morning. He's the only player here. The rest of the squad landed back from South Korea at 8:40 and have been given the day. Well, that's nice of him. Traveling all the way back from South Korea and just giving him a day off. Yeah, he's got a lot to deal with and no training today, which obviously keeps the other players away from the training ground as well, which should lessen the tensions a little bit. Bushbat says, oh, yeah, I did pick up on this yesterday as well, that AC Milan may be another option as well, which, again, can AC Milan afford that, though? I don't know whether they can. And if they do, it'll have to be the price that we want, but over some major segments. I'm not entirely sure whether Milan can afford that, to be fair. Excuse me a second. I'm expecting 2 games at full pace. We're playing against a side similar to Everton, so it'll be yeah, they are going to be a tough side to break down. Not impossible, but yeah, I think they're going to be interesting matches. I really do. Lossio Diogo was terrible. We need to honor him this season. Hopefully, it'll be extra motivation for all that. That's what I would like to see. I would like to see this horrible tragedy just used as a proper motivation for the season, and we just go and win everything. That's what I really want to see. And I think for the most part, that's what we will get as well. Oh, nice one, Adam. I'm going to the match, taking my children to their first ever game. They'll have an absolute blast. They will have an absolute blast. Great memories there. Great memories. But also, speaking of the club, this brings me nicely onto the fact that obviously we do have our games today. It's our first games in our new kit as well. What do you think of our new kits? I absolutely love them. For all 3 of them, in fact, actually all 4 of them, if I include the goalie strip in it, 9 out of 10. There were very few faults for me out of all the kits that we picked. The goalkeeper top, I absolutely love. I love the star design that they've put into the goalkeeper kit this year. The home kit is just 10 out of 10. Completely perfect in my mind. The away kit, the only issue I've got is probably the collar a little bit. It's not really one that I like too much. Not so much the design, because I don't mind this style of collar, but it's the black and red. I'm not entirely sure on. It's a little bit weird. And as for the third strip, the goal, similar to the goalkeeper one, the third strip, the green one, love it as well. I think all 3 kits they've absolutely nailed this year. But what they haven't nailed is the pricing. And I'm not going to try and rant on about this too much, but football pricing, whether it be for tickets, whether it be for a scarf, whether it be for hospitality day, or whether it be for a retro kit, or even the full new kit, how do they expect people to keep on affording this when they keep on putting the prices up every single season? The price for a home shirt is literally a week's shopping for one shirt. And for me, that's just, it's ridiculous. It's too far. It's too far. And sooner or later, it's going to come back and bite them in the ass. Sooner or later, because you're asking people to basically get out a second mortgage to get a full kit. How do you expect Liverpool or any other club, how do you expect people to continue to afford this? What's it going to be next season? £90 for a shirt? So by the end of the decade, going by that mantra, it's going to be over £100 for one football shirt. How? Tell us, football, the footballing world. How are we as fans supposed to keep on affording that? Especially ones on the breadline. Families like me and you on there, on the breadline, just about covering bills and stuff like that. How do you expect us to fork out 80, 85 quid just for a shirt? And if you want the full kit, you're talking, what, 120, 130? It's not good enough. Something has to be done because it's just pure greed. And don't give me that, operations costs and manufacturing costs have all gone up. No, they haven't. It's pure greed at the end of the day. And I, for one, as much as I love the new kits, I will not be paying that money for it. I'm sorry, but I won't. I got this is my newest shirt, and it's a retro shirt. This is the newest Liverpool shirt I've had. And even then, that was still pretty expensive for a retro shirt. But I'm not forking out over a week's worth of shopping for one shirt. It's not worth it in my mind. I mean, let me know in the chat if you agree with me, whether you disagree with me, what could be done about it, all that sort of stuff. It's just ridiculous. Let's go and have a little look more at the comments. Lee, my dad is an Evertonian, but my mum and dad divorced when I was 6. My mum supports Liverpool. My stepdad went to Wembley. Blah, blah, blah. Damn. Still speak to your dad? Tony said, yeah, kit prices are ridiculous. Yeah, the kits are a beauty, but I think they should at least reduce the price. they've got to do something. I won't even say just reduce the price of the kids. In my mind now, no football shirt should be anything over 40, 50 quid. And even then, I'd begrudge paying that for a shirt. But 85 quid, and it's like, it is going to keep on getting more and more. I mean, 2025, 5 years down the line into a new decade, I fully expect a brand new Liverpool shirt to be into the 3 figures easily. But I just think that's a reality at the end of the day. Adam, what are you saying? What would be a failure for us this season? Would be the minimum. Yeah, true. That's very true. The kits are expensive this season. I was going to get one for Anfield this weekend, but I can't justify it. It's 1/10 of it. Exactly that. How can they justify this? I honestly don't know how the club. Well, I know how they could justify it because I know there's going to be fans out there. There's 42,000 shirts sold in the first hour. Or sorry, Florian Wirtz shirts sold in the first hour of release on Friday. Just goes to show that the pull is there, and they're going to be like, yeah, we're going to rake in the money. I mean, 42,000 shirts at 85 quid a pop. That was nearly £4 million in the first hour. Ka-ching for the club. And yet, I'm sorry, but some people are just silly enough to go and pay that. And it screws the rest of us over because if they're willing to pay it, I'm not. So, TV, bear in mind, £85 is the cheaper quality one. The better quality is 120. Exactly. Yeah. I think they're classing it now as a match day shirt, a match day quality. I mean, come on, marketing gimmicks go. It's just a piss take. Better quality. So I picked up both, and the 85 one so bad when you compare it to most. Yeah. And then they wonder why people fake the shirts. Exactly. Yeah, they wonder why that. Back in the day, there's one option only, a quality product, making it cheaper. Yeah, exactly. I remember back when I was pestering my mum when I was a teenager to get the new shirts. And she used to balk at like sort of the £30, £40 mark for the new shirts. And I thought, yeah, that's pretty expensive. 25, 30 years later, we're talking double the price for a supposedly cheaper quality and then paying £120 for a match day quality. This is where I think football is going to the dogs, and sooner or later, it's just going to become an elitist sport. That's what I do fear for it. Yeah, and again, this is a point as well. People will pay it, but we don't want to end up like United, and that's exactly where United have headed, and we don't want to head in that same direction. Oh, that's custy for you. Dad lives right above you. All right, fair enough. Yeah, again, affording Sky Sports. Again, it comes for the passion that we want to show in our club and the sport. How are we supposed to do that when everything just keeps on going up? It won't work. It won't work. Sooner or later, things will collapse in itself. And I said that about transfer prices, about wages, all that sort of stuff. It all goes in one big circle and just rotates and rotates and rotates and just keeps on getting more and more expensive until eventually, what happens when some things get too expensive? Implosion. Collapses in on itself. That is exactly what is going to happen to football if it keeps on going in this direction. So because you got man long sleeve, I mean, £110. I'm sorry, I mean, that's your choice at the end of the day. Not for me. Not when I've got a family to feed. At the end of the day, it's I can't justify that. Dear me, just makes me sad. It really does, because football is supposed to be about the common people, but it's becoming less and less about that. It's just more and more money, and it just makes me a little bit sad to see that football's gone in this direction. But that's just the way the world is, unfortunately. Right, let's do one little social media recap to see if anything else is popping up on the transfer side of things. Let's have a look. See. Oh, there we go. A nice little picture of our new striker signing, our young striker, Will Wright, pictured in his new Liverpool shirt as well. So he is signed on a dotted line and is now a very talented young striker that could come through our system. That could come in handy in a couple of years, which is all good. And besides that, I think that is about it. Right. Okay. Let's have a little look. Come on. So in there, let's see. They say the circle level wait until the 1st of September. Yeah, exactly. So everyone gets paid again, and then yeah. It's all marketing, all part of the marketing strategy. Talking about wanting to be United, keep hitting the likes. Yeah, we don't want to be United. Keep hitting the likes on this video and subscribe to the channel. You know you want to. And again, yeah, actually, they're buying into this whole because we got Adidas back. They can bump the prices up a little bit. Yeah, I'll see where you're going with that one. Right, I think. Oh, that's a fair point, actually. Will Wright actually just be put on the subs bench to see if he gets some game time today? Maybe that is a possibility. Yeah, I mean, Mark, don't worry about it. It'll get sorted. I'm pretty certain it'll get sorted. I personally think by the end of the week, but we'll see. Right, I'm going to leave it there, folks. We're just over the 40-minute mark, so that is my time done on here. So thank you very much for everybody that was in the chat. Very good talking to you all again. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe on this as we march our way to 1,500 subs. Still want that target for the 1,500 before the Bournemouth game. Just as a little update for you guys as well, as you'll see on the code below, there is a Fantasy Premier League code now that you guys can come in and join. Some of us are going to have our teams in. Also, I am back on Friday morning with my next live session on here. And then that will be me done for well over a week as I go on holiday this weekend. So I'm off to sunnier climes. And yeah, that is it for the moment. So again, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Ta-ra.